What's a podcast? I like your show.
How did I get here? Welcome to the Shipe Sports Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Shipe Sports Talk Show. This is our episode 45 and our special baseball preview show. So welcome to that. You know, we did one last year. It was a great hit, so we're back to do another one. We'll be talking Nationals. We'll be talking a little bit of Baltimore Orioles, and we'll get into our predictions for the year and, you know, talk about some of the other teams around the league. Joining me, as always, my co-host and producer, Paul.
How you doing, Matt?
Good. How you doing?
Great.
Joining me also in studio is Chris.
Good evening, everybody.
And our other co-host, David, the Coach Shipe.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing?
I'm assuming good. Real quick before we start the baseball, obviously in the Final Four now, we're going to have Villanova versus Oklahoma, Syracuse versus North Carolina. Syracuse, I think we all can agree, screwed up a lot of brackets, and so did Michigan State.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my bracket sheet looks like a page out of the CIA notebook. It's all scratched.
Did you see this one guy who put $100 on Syracuse to win the whole thing?
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
I wonder what the odds were.
I think it was 100 to 1 is what I was
Wow.
told.
How much did he put down, did you say?
$100.
Ooh.
Either was just drunk when he did it, or he's a diehard Syracuse fan.
Well, as of right now in my tournament challenge, you're in first place.
Mhm.
But if Villanova ends up winning, then Christian, the old, you know, used to be on our show
Yep.
all the time, come back. He'll probably be back. I think he said once school's done.
I'm in first,
win it.
but I have no one left.
You
I
have no
don't
more
think.
left. So
I have no one
you're
left.
probably going to
so
get passed either by Anthony, Christian.
Right.
Actually, a lot of people are going to end up passing you.
We'll see what happens,
Yeah.
but I'm excited with what I have now. So.
Loving those jelly beans, aren't you?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into what we came here to do, and that's the baseball show. First off, before we get to the Nationals, let's talk a little Baltimore Orioles. You know, they're the other team in the area. All of us have seen them more often around here. I'm sure we've all been to games. I think, Chris, we've gone to a few games, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
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 I used-
That was
you know-
before the Nationals showed up. That was
That
where
was
we
the
went
team.
to.
Those were the teams.
Yep,
Yep.
that was the team. But let's get into them this year. Really, you know, in the offseason, their big move was, you know, they brought back Chris Davis on that big, I think it was 7 years. Was it 7 or 5 years? It was one of those years
Yeah.
deal, good amount of money. First he rejected, and he eventually, you know, took the offer. They added Trombone in the outfield to play right field. For pitching, right towards late before start spring training, they added Gallardo, former pitcher of the Brewers, to help with that rotation. They also re-signed Darren O'Day, who the Nationals were going after.
Right.
So, and right before also spring training, they added Pedro Alvarez, who's actually having a good spring training for them. And he'll, you know, more likely will be the DH for them. Maybe switching off from time to time with Chris Davis, giving him a rest, or giving Machado a rest at third base. So, up and down, this Orioles lineup, you know, they have a lot of heavy hitters on this lineup with Adam Jones coming back. You have Machado, Davis, Trombone, Alvarez, and you have
Yep.
Wieters, who,
Wieters
you know,
stays healthy.
if he stays healthy. So
solid.
this, and even the backup for Wieters, Joseph, Caleb Joseph is not bad. Pitching staff, as always for the Orioles, always a little tricky. Their number one star seems like it's going to be Jimenez. I can't
Right.
say his
Jimenez.
Yeah, there you go.
Jimenez.
Jeez, I sound
What in the
right.
world?
I don't know. Jimenez, whatever.
That's my one input, just to say his name.
Oh, that's because you know how to
That's
pronounce.
why I'm
Because you know how to
here.
pronounce it the best. Not saying anything racist towards anything.
Well, if you look at it, the Orioles, if they can get starting pitching over there in Baltimore, I mean, once you get a pitcher can get you through the sixth inning, you have, you know, Britton, O'Day coming in. They probably have one of the best back ends of the bullpen in the American League East, if not in the American League.
Definitely. Also, but their fifth pitcher, Kevin Gosman. God, these names are ridiculous for baseball, man. Football's so easy. Baseball's ridiculous. They say he may start the season in the DL, so we'll
Right.
see. He'll come in to be the fifth starter there. But, you know, odds-on favorite, you know, this team's looking really good on paper. You know, they're always in a tough division, you know, with the East, with the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Tampa Bay Rays. They're slowly.
The Red Sox.
Yeah, the Red Sox. Ortiz is last year, so we'll see. I mean, we'll get more into them later. But up and down, I mean, it's really not a bad hitting lineup if you look at it with Jones, Davis, and Machado. You know, 3, 4, 5 probably hitters in that order. Then you added Wieters, Alvarez, and, you know, Trombone. You know, where are you going to put people out here in this line? I mean, up and down, you know, they were a really great lineup. You know, you could see different people leading off. You know, you have Hardy, Scoop, and then Kim playing left field. I mean, it's almost like where Machado may have power, but you could put him at the top of the order to, you know, get some on base percentage. Jones, he'll get on base, but you really don't want to use him at the leadoff spot. He's a power guy. So, it's going to be very interesting how they're going to do this lineup on opening day. I'm really interested to see what happens. But I think this is a team that playing, if they could, get everything together, they could go on a streak like they did the one year and, maybe get to the, not the division round, but the league championship series once again.
Yeah, well, I tell you, they're in a tough division over there in American League East. A lot of people don't think it is, but it's going to be a tough one. They might sneak up in there. They might sneak up on some people this year, Baltimore. Hopefully they do, since they're one of our area's teams that a lot of people follow. So let's wish them the best, and hopefully, they can get up and give Toronto a problem, and young Tampa Bay. So let's get the Orioles. Could stay in there all year.
I think one of the biggest problems they had was their errors that the pitchers made in the second half of the season. Their ERA just skyrocketed. It was not even funny. I don't even know how I guess how do you work on that? Is that ball control? Is that
it could be anything. Ball control, your emotion, tired, maybe you're tired or whatnot.
It's possible. Maybe they were tired.
You don't know what it could be from. We saw the Nationals last year fatigued. I think it was getting to Scherzer a little bit in August.
Yeah.
So it shows, but I think this is a team that could be prime if their starting pitcher pitching can get where it could be. They could be in line for a pretty deep run in the playoffs again. The one year I think they were one couple wins away from getting to the World Series again, and they haven't been there since the Ripken era and all of them. So this could be a team. We'll get to our predictions later, but maybe some of us could have them back in the playoffs. Who knows?
Let's hope so. Make things interesting in that East.
Yep. All right, let's shift to let's go down 95 a little bit. I was almost going to say up 95. I meant down 95 to our nation's capital with the Washington Nationals. A lot of the biggest offseason move for them was Dusty Baker coming in as manager and Matt Williams out of here. Matt Williams couldn't get the job done. They gave him 2 years to try to do something. They fell short of high expectations. Last year all of us on the show had them winning the World Series.
Everybody did.
And it wasn't from fan favorites. From they had the best team on paper. They're supposed to have the best starting rotation. So it wasn't even about us with the home crowd. It was just they had the best team on paper.
Right. It wasn't just us. It was everybody. Everybody thought we had the best, and some people still think we have the best team on paper.
Right.
And it's kind of hard to disagree.
I think what the difference you're going to see in them this year is it seems as though Dusty Baker has brought in a little bit more, I would say, relaxed atmosphere.
Which is what Davey had them as.
Well, Davey had him at relaxed, and you see what happened there. But Dusty brought in that same, and Dusty's out just a couple years younger, but he's out the same old Davey Johnson is. The teams that he played on when he was coming through, his days of playing baseball. You saw them, the Braves, the Dodgers, and they were relaxed, and look what they did. So, if that can keep up all year and, avoid, some of these young gentlemen going down, I think it's going to be an interesting year for the Nats.
It could be. So let's get into some of the other major moves they made during the offseason. Jordan Zimmerman, obviously gone. Denard Span.
Gone.
Ian Desmond.
Gone.
Bye-bye.
But the thing is, what Ian is playing, left field for the Texas Rangers, which is a new position for him. But, I wish him the best out there.
The thing with him is
that.
he signed a 1-year deal. He's got to find a way to get some money worth because he really screwed up by not taking that $100 million contract in Nationals.
Yep.
I remember you telling me
I
that,
am so happy he didn't take it now.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God for being dumb, Ian, and just thinking you were worth more than what you were.
Man, he took a risk.
Yeah.
Risk didn't pay off
Took a
for him.
risk.
Right. Now
He
he's
took a risk.
paying for way less money than what he would ever have.
He's on one of those 1-year deals where you got to
Right.
show you can do something.
Right.
You see NFL players do it all the time. So,
Show me deals.
Yeah.
so goodbye, Ian. Goodbye, Span. Let's add in new people now. Center field, you're going to have Ben Rivera. Everyone thought it was going to be Michael
Rivera.
Taylor.
Well, you just forgot Drew Storm, too.
Yeah, okay.
Who's now in Toronto.
Yeah, Storm.
Big end of the bullpen.
Right.
So let's go with what they added. When trading Storm, they got Ben Rivera in return.
Right. Leadoff hitter.
Lead
Much
off
needed.
center fielder. Everyone thought it would be Michael Taylor, but Taylor, his hitting still hadn't got there yet.
I'm excited about Revere, actually.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
But then I'm talking, I have a buddy who's up in Philly. He's a Phillies fan, obviously.
yeah.
And, they loathe Rivera because they said he didn't do as well. But it seems like when he went to Toronto.
I think it was the team.
That team was horrible.
That team just overall was just not good.
But you just said Michael Taylor. Dusty seems to have liked the way he's picked up the pace a little bit at the end. So
okay,
you're looking at definitely Taylor having an input and give some of these guys a breather in the outfield, left field. You can move over to center, and you have a combination out there that you keep guys fresh. And if Taylor hits when he's in there. And this is worth his last year on his contract. So you're looking at a future outfield there. I'm going way ahead of myself, but, Taylor, Revere, and Harper.
Yeah, I mean, Worth could be time for him to just slide over.
He's getting up there. What is he, 30?
He's up there. He's
36?
only he has 2 years
maybe?
left. 2 years left on his contract. After those 2, he ain't coming back. So we got that in the outfield. What?
No, go ahead, outfield. Where are you going to now?
I'm going to infield.
Okay, go right ahead.
Goodbye, Desmond. Hello, Daniel Murphy, who they signed to play second.
Mm-hmm.
The hero of the Mets in the playoffs last year. And then when he didn't perform in the World Series, the Mets, those fans in New York will quickly turn on you in a heartbeat. So maybe that's part of the reason, maybe why he came down here. He can really stick it now to the Mets fans and everything. And then you insert Espinoza back at shortstop, who, is having a great spring training in terms of hitting. They say he's getting there a little bit more. But, if he starts to struggle, you have Steven Drew right behind him.
Right behind him. So that's, I can see that Espinoza is going to have to come out of the chutes quick when the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
If he does any struggle first couple weeks and you see a 1-something batting average, there goes Drew right in there right now.
Well, do you see Drew going in there, or you have a young kid down in the minor leagues who is tearing it up?
I understand, but they sent him back down to get some more at bats.
A month or so.
Okay, so you got him in the hip pocket if you need him. But at that point, you have to subtract in order to add. So, Espinoza's not hitting. We need to work out a trade for Espinoza first part of the year, see if you can get rid of him if he is not hitting. He's a hell of an infielder.
Well, they also brought in Scott Sizemore, and that could be someone you could see someone. He could be someone that's like waived or whatnot to bring up.
Turner.
Yeah. Because I don't know if any of the bench people have any more moves that they could go back to the minors.
No.
I don't think any of them do. They've been
which is why it would either be a move or it wouldn't be a move. It'd be a waiver. Then we'll see what happens.
Waiver, yeah. You're looking for a trade to pick up. Like they did. They traded Tyler Moore, who just walked across the dugouts against Atlanta and picked up a minor league first baseman.
And then he'll probably be their backup to Freddie Freeman, because they've been looking for one for Freeman, and there he is.
Freeman. Remember, he can play outfield, so if they need a spot in the outfield, he can just slide right on in there for Atlanta, which I think is a good move for him. He'll get some more bats down there.
So, and then, you have Rendon third, Zimmerman at first, and you have Ramos, a catcher, who apparently had LASIK eye surgery and now can see the ball better than he's ever had.
Actually, I heard
apparently that everything just needs LASIK now.
Yeah, I remember I heard that.
Maybe he can see that outside pitch now and give a swing or two at it.
All right, let's go to the starting pitcher rotation now. You got Scherzer, Strauss, Gio, Rourke. So those are 4, and then the 5th is going to be Joe Ross. And I tell you what, this kid came in as a rookie last year and completely dominated teams. Even after teams have watched him pitch a couple times, I mean, he was going through this 3rd, 4th time in the lineup, just throwing stuff past these guys. So there's your 5th starter, and if he continues his rookie season, this is a good starting pitcher. And then after the starters, that's when you start, what's going on here? You got Perez, Kelly, Gott, Trinan, and then Papelbon closing. I think the question mark there for me, someone that needs to step is going to be Blake Trinan. He throws 103 miles per hour sinker, and if he can control those pitches, you can't touch the guy.
Well, if you remember, Barrett is there coming back after a year hiatus, and he's not throwing the high 80s. It's a little bit more mid 80s, but he has had some success this spring, which Dusty's looking at, and he likes it. He's a left-hander, so if he keeps that up, that'll help out a couple innings. If he makes the final roster up there, and he's a left-hander, and he's got experience in the bullpen, so. Yeah, he's got some decisions to make, but I think he'll make the right decisions when he makes them.
And then obviously you have the starting rotation. You got Scherzer and Strauss. Now I won September Strasburg of last year.
Right.
Now Strasburg's thinking this is his contract year. This could be it for Strasburg in DC. I really think if he has a good year, he's in command money, and I really think we'll get into the Nats minor league, in a minute about starting pitching.
Giolotti. Giolati.
He's someone where you keep your eye on. If one of these guys get hurt, Strauss,
Right.
you can short him right in,
Right.
and then you see how he does. It could be another situation where they had with Doug Fister, where you saw Ross, and you're like, wait a minute, Ross is pitching better than Fister. Fister was just on the DL. Let's keep Ross in there. So Giolito, if he comes up, he may not be going back down. And I
Right.
think he's one of the top. I think he's a top pitching prospect in the minors right now, and he had
is.
And
tremendous spring.
His demeanor is the thing that has him everybody loving him right now. He goes out in the mound. Okay, it's my day to pitch.
Cool and relaxed kid. He's a
he
kid
just
playing,
doesn't
doing what he
get
loves
excited.
to do. And
Nervous.
you get him up there. After this year, then it's like, okay, Strauss, you can take your money elsewhere, because I'm telling you what, the Nationals need to save all their money they get, because there's a guy in a couple years going to be a free agent, and they need to just hand him an open checkbook and tell him, what do you want?
Right.
I'm serious. For Harper, and to him real quick with his contract, you need to start talking to him now. This is where you say, Harper, you know what? Here's 500, 400 million. Here's 7 or 10 years. Take it. We want to keep you in D.C. until you're 31, 32 years old. I'm sorry. I throw that kind of money out at him, because his is get him in his prime, and then once he gets to be 32, 33, towards the last year, then you can say, okay, we've used him. Because if you keep someone like Harper here for 10 years, you're going to guarantee yourself some championships. He's the type of guy who can put a team on his back and carry them through a postseason, like what Murphy did with the Mets.
Right. Correct.
And we
now
saw
you
that
have him and Murphy both now.
You saw that 2 years ago when they played the Giants. The only guy who was hitting in the Giants series
Was
was Harper and Rendon. Where was everyone else? Harper, you can only do so much when no one else is hitting, but he, kept that team in that series probably to let it go to 4 games.
Yeah.
Almost took him to 5, but, it's so hard to beat when you're down 2-0 to come back.
But it's exciting now that Rendon's back.
Yes, Rendon's
So-
healthy.
Back at
Zimmerman
third,
needs to stay
yep.
healthy,
Yeah.
hopefully. But, while we're on Harper, what do you think? Do you think this year you try to work out a deal, and do you give him that high-paying deal for 7 to 10 years, knowing this guy could bring you championships?
I think now is the time. I think you're right.
Do you give him that money, though?
Especially, I think you have to, like you said, because all the other teams are going to be with an open checkbook. So you got to.
The Yankees want him.
Yeah.
They got the most.
So
You can't let him get to the market.
No.
Don't let him Don't let him even feel
as
they
soon
have
as-
money.
Exactly. As soon as you let him go, he's never coming back.
No.
And if he does come back, Washington's losing millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. So now would be the time, especially after last season. You might be able to get him for relatively cheap, I think.
Is his contract up the same year that Strasburg's is?
No, he has one more year after Strasburg.
All right.
Strasburg
then.
is this year.
Strasburg
said he's not doing anything, and he wants to
No.
test free agency. Boris is.
Right.
That's why the learners, wherever, they need to get together and be like, look, Harper,
who's his
go to
agent?
or Boris.
There you go.
But you know what? Instead of working with Boris, have someone else talk to Harper. Have the learner
it's
go
not.
up.
Harper's going to refer you to Boris.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to do
That's what they're
something,
there for.
because
I
I
mean-
think this year and next year you have to lock up Harper, and I think you have to lock up Rendon.
Well, Harper. Here's the thing: we get into this. Boris is going to wait and see what happens with Strasburg before he even approaches or even puts anything on Harper. I'm going to see what Strasburg can get. Boy, if he can get this money, can you imagine what Bryce could get? And
Right.
then I get a percentage of that too. So
How much
it's-
money are we talking
gets to
about?
that.
We're talking 400 or 500 million.
Yes.
To be honest with you,
For Bryce Harper.
Harper's gonna make close to probably 50. He's gonna be the highest paid player ever in baseball,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Juan
And-
Carlos Stanton just got a $300 million deal, I believe,
Oh,
from
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus,
Marlins.
Marlins.
Yes, he got it
What are you
last year.
talking about?
What?
He got it last year.
Just like how much money that is. That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But compared to what he was making now, it's. What is he making now? Like
Harper? Not
Yeah.
even that much. I mean,
No,
obviously.
he's on the last
Yeah,
year of his original contract.
Stanton got 13 years, $325 million
Mm-hmm.
with the Marlins. So
Right.
the Marlins are doing what the Nats need to do and lock up their star player.
Well,
Now Stanton's making 325. Harper's easily going to top 400 million.
450 to 5. I'd
Yeah,
say.
he's going to get
in
it.
that range.
And
I mean,
I really
yeah.
think they should do it now, before this season starts. Because I mean, we're not at predictions yet, but I mean, I think the Nats could also make another run. Could make a run this year as opposed to last year. And if that happens, let's just say, knock on wood, we make it to the World Series, and knock on wood, we win. I mean, you're talking 500 to 600 million
I
now.
wish it was 1,000.
Yeah, I wish it was 1,000, right?
But he's gonna command the money, and you got to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give it to him.
And his agent would be smart to just say, don't speak a word of this at all, basically. Just wait. Just hold on. The payday's coming.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I think the Nats are at the point where you don't re-sign Strasburg because, like we said, you got Lucas Giolito down there. You got, like, A.J. Cole. You got Nationals have a great minor league system. They've always have and always will. They always built a lot of these players, they're starting to do the trend where they're trading and doing some players. They realize, sometimes you have to go out. But Rendon, Ryan Zimmerman, Harper, they're almost their entire, not their entire pitching staff, Scherzer and Gio they got. But people like, Strauss, they traded for Joe Ross when he was very young. I mean, they got a really good farm system. They bring up a lot, and you see a lot of these guys, spread out to other teams. Desmond obviously went to another team, stuff like that. So, I mean, they have the farm system for pitching. It's the hitting. You can always find a pitcher that can be plugged right in and help your team out right away, whether it's free agency, a farm system. It's hard to find a number 4 guy or number 3 guy in your lineup that can make an impact like Harper has. And that's what you need to sign. You need to sign your 3 and 4 hitter, even with Rendon included, get him on a contract and have the face of this franchise locked up for 10 years like what they did with Ryan Zimmerman, before his injuries settled and everything. They locked him up to be a Nats for life. Maybe Harper needs to get the same treatment as Zimmerman as being a Nats for life.
Well, let's hope. I mean, that's all we can hope for. The best, arguably the best player in baseball now, I think for sure will be the best player in baseball shortly, without a doubt.
I really hope they stop the Harper Trout thing. I hope Harper comes out and just blows away Trout in every category because I'm tired of the comparison.
I'm just saying, technically Trout, I think, is number 1.
But Trout's also older.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what
eventually Harper will be number
like when
1.
People are like,
clear
well,
cut number 1.
Yeah, when people are like Trout's better, it's like, well, he's had a little bit more.
Mhm.
He's a little bit older, so of course.
Yeah.
But so I mean, let's get into the now the closer. You have Papelbon coming back. Apparently, him and Harper worked everything out. I like what he did during spring training. He got rid of, he talked about what happened. And that was it, the end of it. No more reporters should be on him. As a Nats fan, I heard a lot of people calling on the radio saying, they're going to boo this guy or not. Do you boo this guy when he comes out, or do you support him? No, you got to support him. That's what I said. Because you think about this guy, the games are in his hands.
But
what if you boo him enough, he goes out and says, screw you all. I'm going to leave a slider hanging out across the middle for Hunter Pence or someone just to bang out the ballpark.
I agree. You can't boo this guy. He's on your team. Like you said, he is the closer right now.
You may hate him, but he's on your team.
Right. But I've read nothing but we should have got rid of him. We should have got rid of him. So I can see where people are still going to try to maybe boo him.
I know. But here's my thing between him and Storen, where who do you get rid of? Who's won a World Series? Who's won a big game? Papelbon. Storen has proven time and time again he can't win the big one. You saw against the Cardinals, the questionable strike zone calls, but he ended up blowing that. You saw in the game with the Giants in Game 2 last year, or 2 years ago, he blew that. Storen has never established himself as the guy who can get that third out. Papelbon has been there. He has rings on his fingers. He knows what it's like to get to the promised land, and that's where it comes at on why you keep Papelbon over Storen when it did happen, because he knows what it's like to get that third out in a World Series, in a playoffs. Storen hasn't done that. And I hate to say it. You may hate the guy, but you know what? He knows how to win. He's a winner, and it seems like in the clubhouse,
and I'd keep him.
And it seems like in the clubhouse, they said he's taking on a veteran leadership. He's in there picking the music for everyone. He's well, that's what you do. Sometimes you get to pick that, but he's a leadership. I think him and Harper have gotten past that. I think it was a heat of the moment type thing. I think it's one of those situations where you should have been in a World Series. Now you're not in the playoffs, and tempers are just flying.
And I bet that kind of stuff happens behind closed doors.
That's what the problem was.
That's what happened.
They said this is normally the type of shit you see in the clubhouse, but I think just words were said to each other. And Harper's also got to realize Papelbon's a grown-ass man. Papelbon probably would have whooped his ass. That's a country boy.
Well,
I don't care how big you are. You don't mess with country boys. So, they got past that, and I think Papelbon will be I think he'll be a 30, 40 save type of guy for this club.
Wow.
If they want to make the World Series, he needs to be a 40, 50 type guy for them. No blown saves. So, and then we go to the pitching, and I think injuries are a big part this year. Rendon has to stay healthy.
Well, that's because it was a huge part last year.
Yeah,
you have to monitor
as
that.
I kept saying over and over, they only saw their full lineup, opening day lineup, twice in a year. And yeah, you can say, Mets fans, well, we were missing David Wright and blah, blah, blah. You know what? You probably had them more than what we did. Cepedis, that made, we didn't make any big splash because they were banking on these guys coming back, and none of them really came back full health. Coach, you said that all along that they were banking on these guys coming back, and they never did.
Right. That was last year.
So since we're already on the topic, why don't we just stay within division and start the NL East? And mostly, really, I hate to, not to sound like an asshole or something, but you can pretty much throw the Phillies and the Braves out of any kind of discussion to be a rival team, playoffs or anything. You can just go ahead and just throw them out the door. They're all rebuilding. The Braves had a fire sale this offseason, basically. The only person left on that team is Freeman, and he's probably sitting there going, why wasn't I traded? Why am I still here?
Why am I here?
You guys are just screwing us. Phillies, I don't even know what to say about them. I mean, they're just, ever since those World Series, they've just gone downhill. Ryan Howard's really
got older.
Yeah, Ryan Howard never really came out to be the superstar they thought he was going to be.
Here's what you look at, and this is what I've said. Okay, you talk about the Phillies. The Phillies were kicking everybody's ass. I'm sorry to say that. When we saw the Nationals losing 98 games, 100 games with a young roster. Okay, people make a mistake. Now, it's turned. I don't say the tides have turned. I'm saying full circle has now come back around to the Phillies. They're trying to rebuild. They're doing what they need to do. They're unloading players, getting this. So now they're in the boot with what the Nationals were in 5-6 years ago. Maybe longer than that. So, Phillies are rebooting. They're trying to. They got to get their minor league system back in order, and then they go from there. Look at the Nats. Here we go. We got good players, some great players up here. We got a great minor system. So now it's just, as you can see, the Phillies are at the bottom, the Nats are at the top. When we looked at it years back, the Phillies are at the top, Nats are at the bottom. So it's a circle that has come full now, and problem is the Nats have to keep it there.
Yeah, you can't. But let's start talking with the Mets, who are probably going to be the biggest pain in the ass to the Nationals this year. Last year, the 100%. Mets, they came on strong the second half. They made trades for Cepedis. It really got things going. They went and got Tyler Clippard in a trade, so they really got things going. They re-signed Cepedis, who was leaning between the Nationals and the Mets, and he's like, oh, well, I'll return to the team, whatever. He went back to the Mets. I'm actually kind of happy about that we didn't spend the money on him, because you see the play that he did during spring training, but he just gave up on a play.
The ball that went to the bottom of the fence.
A ball went to the bottom of the fence, and he just looked at it and just threw his hand up, didn't even want to attempt to try to get it. It was inside the park home run. The umpire goes and just gets it and just pulls it out like it was nothing. It was like, that's a home run, dude. I mean, it's not stuck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but here's the thing about Cepedis. He came into the league last year, and everyone, no one knew about him. He was in the American League. Now, here's the thing. When he started in the American League, he was the same way. He was hitting the ball a ton, all this other stuff. Once pitchers figured out what to do around him, he was not that great of a hitter in the American League anymore. And I think the same thing's going to happen this year. You're going to see more film on him and everything. They're going to start learning him. Another thing for the Mets last year was Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard. That rotation was just amazing.
There's one other pitcher that they're starting for, I think, is probably
Cologne, and then Cologne's getting old. I don't know how people can't hit off that guy. I really don't.
He
just throws junk ball.
He knows what to do. He's been around for a while.
But I really think this pitching staff, it's really hard for a staff to do what they did last year, to do it twice in a row, especially with, not getting hurt or whatever, because, Harvey, he was supposed to have an inning limit last year and went past that inning limit.
He did go past it.
Does it affect him this year more? Do you see him maybe a little bit more tired or whatnot?
He missed his last rotation down in spring training. They won't say why.
Well, no, they came out and said he had a slight blood clot in his groin area, but it's fine. He'll be ready for opening day. So nothing arm related.
That's amazing.
But they say healthy through the whole year. It's really hard for any type of rotation to never lose anyone throughout the whole year. I really don't think you see those three guys do the same thing they do last year. I don't think they repeat. I think hitters will finally figure out their stuff. Like I said, 1 year around. I think DeGrom and Syndergaard, were very. I think they were close to almost being. I think Syndergaard was the rookie. Grom's been there for a while, but not too much. So I think you start figuring them out maybe a little bit more.
And they both were at career highs last year.
Yeah, everything was a career high for all of them.
So
yeah. So what happens this year? Does Harvey?
That's going to be interesting to find out.
But let's go with, they lose Daniel Murphy, as we said. They insert Neil Walker. They had Cabrera, shortstop, used to be with the Nationals 2 years ago during that run.
Right.
You got David Wright back. Can he stay healthy for a whole year? That's another question for them. You got Curtis Granderson back in right field. He's getting up there in age. Does age start affecting him the way, you see Jason Worth getting affected and Ryan Zimmerman? So that's the thing, was this Mets team a one-year wonder, or they give the Nats problems again and do they win this division? I'm not going to say one-year wonder, but I'm going to say they're not going to dominate the way they did last year, especially the starting pitchers. I think they're going to come down to earth a little bit more this year. And, it may take another trade during, the trade deadline to maybe improve. I think their rotation with Cologne, we'll see how he does in age. He may be getting to the point where he may not be, he knows what he's doing, but hitters may start, pounding off on him sooner or later if his velocity still goes down and down. So, what are your two thoughts on the Mets this year? And do you think they'll repeat the way they did last year and dominated the Nationals?
Go ahead, Mr. Shipe.
Well, I first of all, they're going to be tough again, okay? And you can't. I don't know. I don't look at them as being a one-year wonder. I think they have the top 3 pitchers, top 4.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good bullpen coming back. They hit the ball. You don't get to the World Series by just sniffing around. So they're gonna be in there with the Nationals. Nationals go down and fall asleep for a little bit. They're gonna see the Mets laying right next to them on the same pillow. So they're gonna. I just think they're gonna be tough again. And if you want to win National League East, you better make sure you dominate the Mets, which that's the chase. You have to beat them when you play them.
Yeah.
And if you look at last year, damn, the Mets beat them what? The last 2 series they played them last
3
year,
series, I
which
think.
cost them the division.
Yep.
And then I'm just gonna go on down. I see Miami and the Braves fighting for the 3rd spot. Braves could sneak up to number 3. You got to watch out for Atlanta. Every time when they were winning at some point in times, they said, "Oh, they're rebuilding." Yeah, right, they're rebuilding. They just won a National League East. But them in Miami 3rd. If the Mets do falter, watch out. Miami gets something that they need. They could boast up, and it's about time for them to make a move. And then the Phillies will bring up the rear until they get their teams straightened with who they want, who they get, where the money is, who they want to spend on, bring up, and so forth.
Well, I think you're right, Mr. Shipe. I think it's going to be the Nationals and the Mets, basically 1 and 2. I think it's going to come down to just a few games. It's going to come down to the wire, in my opinion. I think you're right with the Marlins. I think they're going to take 3rd. I read somewhere. I read they brought in the Dodgers manager and Barry Bonds also as a hitting coach, so that's going to be interesting. One thing I read is Barry Bonds is more of a, at least towards the end of his career, I think, was
Juicing up?
other than that, was teaching patience, and I think that's one of the things that the Marlins needed
Especially
last
with the young
year.
batting order.
Yeah, definitely. They basically, that's what they said, is that they're so young, they're swinging on those first pitches, and they really shouldn't. So that'll be interesting to see if they
Bonds
compete.
will help out, Carlos Stanton a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but
could be interesting.
I do think that Daniel Murphy will get his revenge on the Mets this year. That's my prediction.
Probably just bombs home runs against them all the time.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and predict the East while we're here. Coach, let's go with you. How do you think the East is going to finish up?
Hopefully Nats and the Mets in a tight race. Hopefully the Nats will come out of it. Like I said, Miami and the Braves be jockeying for 3rd, and the Phillies will bring up the rear.
I didn't say hopefully. Are you picking the Nats to win the division?
Well, if they can, like you said, if they can win a couple
Jeez.
series against the Mets, yeah.
Okay. Chris?
I agree.
Nats
I think
win?
it's going to come down to 3 games.
You
But the
got them?
Nats will win.
I got the Nats, and I have the Mets as one of my wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have them as the Mets any wild card teams or no?
Let
You have
me
them as
see.
you have them as your wild card? Your
Mhm.
first wild card or your second wild card?
The second wild card.
Second wild card? Okay, that's where I have them. I have them going away. You have them as a wild card?
Yeah, I got them as a wild card. Just give them a little bit of credit.
Well, let's go on the other side, and let's
Okay.
go to the AL East, and let's go ahead and do, we talked about the Orioles.
Right.
Let's talk about just their, quick touch on their division. I'm thinking of, division. Yeah, I don't know. You got the Red Sox, Yankees, Tampa Bay, Toronto. I think Tampa Bay you can ride out a little bit. They've been, selling a lot of their players off. I'd see over there. But the team that really I look at the most is going to be the Red Sox. Because you're on Ortiz's last this is last season, so it's one of those, final hoorahs for David Ortiz. They don't have a bad lineup. Hopefully Sandoval lost some weight in spring training. You got
Here's a question.
Hanley Ramirez is playing first base now. They got, you got David Price, leading the rotation now there. You got Craig Kimbrell, their closer, a very reliable closer. The Nationals know a lot about him when he was with the Braves. So his team isn't bad up and down. You always got Pedora playing second base here. I really have the Red Sox maybe making some noise. I don't know if they exactly make the playoffs, but I have them making some noise in the East and maybe rattling a few teams there.
So you got them rattling who?
I have them, competing up there maybe for third and fourth. I think it's going to be a 4-team race, and I think they're all going to be within 10 games of each other at the very end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what I
You
got.
just
So
have to
who
figure
do you
out
have then?
Who do I have winning
who's
it?
going to be out.
Right. I have the Orioles.
You have the Orioles.
I have the
Okay.
Orioles winning that division, and I have the
Oh,
Blue
wow.
Jays as a wild card.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I have the Blue Jays winning that one.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I have,
Coach?
and the thing is, last year we said the Orioles, they bottomed out on us a little bit, but I don't know. I think that starting pitching, if they come around with the way their offense is, I think the Orioles can, I think they can pull this one out. Coach, who do you have winning that division?
Well, I have Toronto with the Boston, Tampa, and the Yankees and Orioles fighting for last.
The bottom of the barrel.
But I the thing I said is, but here's the thing. Here's the clicker. And I said it earlier in the show. The American League East has the best 8-9 inning relievers in Major League Baseball.
Well, here's my problem with
Because what you're talking about is, and this is what I've been reading, if the Orioles can get starting pitching, the Yankees can, okay? Tampa has it, and then Boston has probably one of the best relievers in Major League Baseball. Toronto gets Storen, and I think that will be a good thing for Storen. It's a taste, another venue, plus the American League teams have really not seen him. Only, they see him on paper or whatever, or have watched games, but they really have not been up to bat against some of his stuff. So that I think that would help Storen out. But like some of them say, if these starting pitchers on any of these teams can get to the 6th inning, it's lights out 7, 8, 9. Because, look at the Yankees. Chapman and who they have coming in there at the end. The Orioles with Britton and O'Day. And Toronto right now is probably the best starting pitching. All right. Boston with adding Price, but they're still looking at a 3 or 4 guy. So, I'm looking, like I said, Toronto, Boston, Tampa maybe, biting on the heels of Toronto, and the Yankees and Orioles trying to get solid starting pitching, but it looks like 4 and 5.
All right, yeah, but I'm gonna go with the Orioles still, and I'm gonna go with Tampa, and I'm gonna go with Toronto as a wild card. Do you have Do you have the wild card coming out of the division at all?
Let me look on my other sheet. Yeah, I do.
Who's the wild card there?
I have Tampa.
As a wild card.
Yeah, Toronto winning, Tampa's a wild card. Now, why do I bust Tampa up in Boston? I just think if, Boston needs a number 3 starter unless they got it right now, but they still need a 4. If they don't get it, that could, not, help them out like they need, but Tampa could come up and get the wild card.
Okay. Chris, do you have the wild card out of there, or do you just have Tampa or just
No,
Toronto?
actually, I have the Red Sox.
As a wild card?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, let's shift to the other NL team, which is going to be this division. Let's go to the Central. And let's go with the team who made a lot of noise in the offseason. Let's go with the Chicago Cubs.
Correct.
A lot of team, they're being predicted, they're like the Nationals of last year. They're being predicted, to win the World Series and go all the way.
Yep.
The big move for them was they went and got Jason Hayward.
Yep.
They got Ben Zupertis.
Right.
So they made some pretty good moves, and both those players the Nationals were going after.
Yeah,
funny
those are
thing.
big.
Right.
Big
and,
names.
And look at their 1, 2, and 3 pitchers: Arrieta, Lester, and Lackey. That's not bad. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
You got number 4, and they give you a break.
You got Rendon coming back to be their closer, not Anthony Hector Rendon.
Right. So they're looking pretty good.
It's looking like a pretty good lineup. You got Chris Bryant, the Rookie of the Year last year, who's hell of a hitter. Anthony Rizzo at first base, probably one of the best pure hitters in baseball. You got Fowler, who said he was going to the Orioles, then quickly 180 it and came back to
he saw
Chicago.
what was coming on there in Chicago.
I would have stayed too if I was him. So
Yeah.
they're looking like a very dangerous team on paper. and it's looking very dangerous for St. Louis. St. Louis is, running that division, for the past, 5-10 years now.
Yep.
Problem with St. Louis is they're getting old. They're getting old pretty quick. You got Yadier Molina, who's been fighting injuries. Holiday. Not a lot of young guys there. I mean, you got Adams, you got Carpenter, at the corners of the infield, but not a lot of younger guys in there. Starting pitcher Wainwright hasn't been, that much healthy.
Well, he's healthy this year.
You got Leak, Waka, that's a really good 1-2-3. So I think it's going to be. It may end up being a 3-team race. Milwaukee, they haven't really been up there in a while. Pittsburgh, they're always, they're hovering around, but they always end up falling apart. And Cincinnati has just completely fallen off the face of the earth.
Roster makeover. They're more like with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, it's complete. They lost
Joey Votto, and that's it.
You really got Billy Hamilton and Brandon Phillips. They're still there. Hamilton, if he can get on base somehow, he's a pretty, 60 stolen base guy a year. You got Jay Bruce still in right field, but I'm coming to the point where Cincinnati may get towards the end of the trade deadline not doing too well. You may start seeing some fire sales from them.
Well, remember, the Nationals tried to get Phillips, but he vetoed the trade, so he could veto any trade this year.
That's fine with me. I'm happy they actually didn't get him.
Yeah, I understand that, but the thing is, you get a leader.
You do, but I think Daniel Murphy is a fine replacement.
It's suitable.
And Pittsburgh, you got Andrew McCutchen playing center field. One of the best hitters in baseball.
Beast. Right.
Yeah, you still got Harrison playing second. They went out and signed David Freese, so it's not a bad lineup there. Starting pitcher, you got Garrett Cole, a very young, good pitcher there. Liriano's there. Used to be a hell of a pitcher back in Minnesota. Went out a little bit, came back and having a strong, now season. So we'll see what happens there with Pittsburgh. But I actually have two teams making the playoffs out of this division. I have the Cubs winning the division, and my Nets wild card team, my first wild card that will be taking on the Mets, will be the Cardinals.
Yep.
Correct. I have that too.
That's exactly what I have.
That's what you have?
I mean, and I got the Pirates in Milwaukee, but Milwaukee may fade before the Pirates staying in third place.
Yeah, I have the Pirates in third.
That's all right. I was getting excited there for a minute.
I have
and
the
the
Pirates
Reds bring
in third.
up the rear.
All right, we're going to shift down to the AL Central, where once we have the defending World Series champs, which are the Kansas City Royals, who will open up the season against the Mets on Sunday night, which I think it's awesome, a rematch of the World Series for those first two games. I think that's something they should start doing now, I think.
Seems like Major League Baseball is starting to do the same thing like NFL does.
Yeah, but the NFL doesn't have the rematch. They're actually having the rematch.
Yeah, well, it's a one game. They played a 5 or 6 or 7 game thing.
That's fine. I like it. I like it. I think it's something neat. So the Royals, you have Hosmer there. You have Kane. Alex Gordon came back. Pitching. You got Vols. Chris, help me say his name.
I'm sorry, what?
Volquez.
Who are we talking about?
For the starting pitcher for the Kansas City.
Volquez.
Volquez. Thank you.
Volquez.
Chris is our Spanish name interpreter here. So I don't want to. So we don't butcher the names. We also have Paul.
I get an extra $1 an hour for that.
Yeah, you do. You got Morales doing designated hitting. And then, you got Chris Medlin in the lineup, Ian Kennedy, Chris Young. So it's not really a bad, rotation again. And, last year, they went off of, believe they brought in Johnny Cueto to help them out in the World Series. He's gone to San Francisco. But still, even without him, it wasn't really a bad lineup. Ned Yost is doing a great job with Kansas City. I mean, they were a bottom feeder for this division for about 5 to 10 years. And then the past 2 years, they've just shot up back-to-back World Series.
And it comes from their farm system.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I mean, they're bringing people up that want to play, want to hustle, and they're playing small ball better than anybody else. So that keeps them up top. And
then you look at the rest of this division. I mean, what do you think of the defending world champs?
I have them winning this division easy.
Well, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
I have my second wild card team coming out of this division. It's probably a team that's going to surprise a lot of people.
Okay.
And the team that's going to finish second in this division to me is going to be the Detroit Tigers. I have the Tigers out there. They went out. You got Verlander back at the start of the line. He's getting there in age, but they go out. They signed Jordan Zimmerman. Sanchez is on that lineup. You got Rodriguez doing the closing. Francisco, not a bad. You still have Melky Cabrera. You still have Victor Martinez. They went and signed Justin Upton, J.D. Martinez, Mabins in the outfield. So they have a very good, solid outfield. You got Kinsler playing second base now. So I think this is a team that they had a down year last year. Yeah. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs with the second wild card.
It gets with pitching. You got Zimmerman, Verlander. Who's their number 3 and who's their number 4? And
Sanchez.
Is their bullpen capable enough of closing these games out, want Zimmerman and Verlander. Because if you looked at it last year, they said about Detroit, at some point in time, Verlander felt like he had to either strike him out or get him out or go 9. So, what they get in the bullpen. But I have the Twins fighting it out with them for second place.
You got the Twins?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to touch real quick on another team in this division about something that happened this year, about a couple weeks ago, and that's with the Chicago White Sox and the Adam LaRoche ordeal. Adam LaRoche has a contract. He left $13 million on the table, walked away because they told him you can't bring your son around all the time. You can't even bring him around for 50% of the time. We maybe want 20 or 25%. LaRoche said, okay, you told me last year when I signed my deal that I could bring my son around. Now you're going back. Goodbye. Gone. And, now that, they come out, some players have gone and complained. But then you have the leader of that clubhouse, your number one pitcher, Chris Sale, come out and said the wrong person left the clubhouse that day.
Right, correct. And a couple people besides him said that also.
And you know what? For your number one pitcher to say that and probably the best player on your team, I think shows on who was right in this situation, who was wrong. Okay, and you hear people, well, not everyone can take their kid to their job. Not everyone is a damn baseball player. This is
not
awesome.
a normal job.
And then people, what about his schooling? He gets homeschooled. I'm sure the kid's not dumb.
Yeah, he gets homeschooled.
The Nationals, they never had a problem. They all loved him to death. Harper came out and said he supported Adam LaRoche. A lot of those people were former teams he were at. They supported him.
Yeah, and that may give a little bit of dissension among the White Sox and I don't know, propel them to
last place
near the bottom with the White Sox. With them and the Indians.
Sale may want to request to get out of there now.
Well, it's possible they're at the outlast of it by the end of the season. At trade time, you may see him departing.
But I think it was wrong what they did to him. I have no problem what he did. I'm happy he did what he did. I'm glad he took a stand for what he believed in.
Right.
Most guys have been like, oh, okay, it's $13 million. He was like, no, family comes first for me. He'll go hunt mountain lions like he does up in wherever he's at, Montana.
Do too bad.
How old is he now?
He's up there in like 30. He's in his upper 30s, I think, getting up there.
Okay.
But he had one more year left, so he may come back next year and play for someone else. Who knows?
Basically, he just has to take this year off, right?
Yeah.
I can see
him sign maybe a contract for next year with another team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I can see him doing that.
But I'm gonna have the Royals and the Tigers coming out of that.
Okay.
Mm.
I don't have anyone else from this division.
Just the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and shift now to the NL West, where we have, I think the big move for the West. I think you have the Dodgers and all them. You have Greinke who switched over to the Diamondbacks.
Right.
But I think the move everyone's underrating that hasn't been talked about the most has been Johnny Cueto going to the Giants. Going right behind Madison Bumgarner. They also got that guy. Jesus, I can't pronounce his name. Jeff Samardzija. I can't even announce his name. Then you got Matt Cain and Jake Peavy. That's a very good rotation right there. They added Denard Span. They've been looking for a leadoff hitter for some time now. You still got Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford. A really good young guy. Hunter Pence is still there. He always gives hitter problems. This is a great lineup from up and down. And Bruce Bochy knows how to use this lineup.
Right.
He knows how to win series.
I mean, you look at the outfield now. The outfield got better with Span going into center field because you got, with Pagan and Pence out there, you got some guys that can get up and go out there. So that'll helps out in San Francisco also. It definitely will help the pitchers out. So
then everyone always talks about the Dodgers this and the Dodgers that. Well, you know what the Dodgers can do? They can have a great regular season. When they get to the postseason, their pitchers suck. I mean, Kershaw can't win to save his life.
Yeah. So
goodbye, Zach Greinke, and you add in Scott Kazmir. They really didn't make any big splashes. They lost their second best pitcher. They try to get Chapman in there to be their setup guy, but once those domestic charges came out, they said goodbye. You're out of here.
Mm-hmm.
He's serving that suspension for the Yankees. But you have Jansen, who's always a great closer. But then you have Puig. You got Pedersen in center field, who is a home run or strikeout type of guy. You got Carlos Crawford in left, winding down the part of his career, and Puig is someone that
still a mystery.
Still, he's an immature player. I think is what he is. He's immature. He has a lot of antics. He has all the talent in the world, but he just doesn't know how to put it together. And I think it's because he doesn't have any kind of veteran guy there that can sit him down or something.
Set him straight.
Like Bryce Harper. Mike Trout, Trout probably had like pull holes or something.
Yeah.
Harper, he has like Zimmerman, Werf, to tell him to shut up and do what you got to do. They changed managers, obviously.
Yeah, new manager.
Yep. So, but this is another team where, I think they could have a great season, but I don't think they're going to be in. I don't think they make the playoffs.
Just to step out of context here from it, seeing that Pui is from Cuba. I heard, I don't know if you heard or not, that Cuban, they get games in Cuba, but when people like, let's say the Dodgers are playing anybody and Pui comes up, they go to commercial.
They do.
Any
Why?
Cuban player that
They
I
cut
go,
it out.
what-
They edited it out.
they go to
edit them out.
commercial or whatever.
Why is that?
Because
The
they're
government.
from Cuba. The government says that.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if a Cuba player's pitcher, you're only going to see the bottom of every inning?
Yeah.
You know?
They don't.
That's all you're going to see. And you got a 1-1 game, and here comes the reliever. From Cuba. Okay, game over. Turn it off.
That's crazy.
It
That
is
was
crazy.
That would
but-
suck if you're in the World Series Game 7 and the closer's Cuban.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
Wow.
want the government doesn't
No.
want them to know that they actually are playing baseball, that they're being successful, and they're making a
Right.
ton
Lot
of money.
of money.
Yeah.
Maybe Obama will cure that.
No, it didn't, because did you hear the news today? Fidel is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He came
I heard he
out
spoke
and
out
made some
against it.
comments like, we
don't need
did
the
all
empire.
that. We don't need the empire, the Giants, and all this stuff. So you know what? Hey, my thing is, and I hate to say this, if he's still alive, I don't think you can do anything to change the attitude in Cuba.
Well, do you now, in terms of baseball news, what they're trying to do is get a thing with baseball where they can go there and start scouting and signing players. They're trying to
It's
get
not
that.
going to happen.
Well, it was kind of cool they played the game over
They
there.
tried
though.
it. That was
Until
that
they
was-
came back
yeah.
here and there was a protester that threw a beer can in the back of the Tampa Bay dugout because they went to Cuba. A couple
Wow.
fans here were pissed off and they threw a beer. Someone ran the
Well,
field, threw a
that's-
beer can in the
you're gonna-
dugout,
you're
exploded on
gonna-
the back
Wow.
wall.
Yeah, you're going to get that in Florida. So, but anyway.
But
where we at?
I think this is going to be a two-team race between, I think it's still going to be the Dodgers and the Giants. Arizona, they got better. They brought in Shelby Miller. They brought in Zach Greinke. But their offense is still,
Well, they still got
subject.
Goldschmidt in there.
That's about it,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, they picked up Tyler Clippard.
What
Hold
was
on.
that?
We just lost everything.
Did we? It's the Cubans.
There's no sound or nothing.
Oh no, you know what it was? They can still hear us.
Okay.
It's the
All right.
Cubans.
All right, we're back.
my
Coach,
God.
stepped
Sorry
on
about
the
any
power
comments
cord.
I made earlier about,
Fidel heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
The
for that
CIA said,
State
"Cut him off,
Department."
cut him
Yeah.
off." CIA said, "Cut him off." All right,
Yeah.
so
YouTube is gonna edit us out.
We walk out the door, they'll be cuffing us off.
I think from this division, I have the Giants winning the division. That's it.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
you already know my wild card, but I got the Giants winning, and that's it.
Mr. Shipe?
Yeah, I've got the Giants winning the division. I don't even have the Dodgers even making a wild card. So, and then bringing up by Arizona, Colorado, and the Padres.
Chris,
All right. I've got like you said, it's going to be I think it's a 2 to 3 team race, but I have the Dodgers winning it. I still think they're going to have a great regular season. It's just in the playoffs is where they're going to, slack off a little bit. And I have the Giants getting the wild card in this division.
all right. So let's shift to the last division of the day before we start our playoff prediction little brackets type things, and we have the AL West, where you have the division defending champs, the Houston Astros. They came out of nowhere last year, took control of this division along with the Rangers out of nowhere. Teams that weren't even supposed to be up there.
Wild card.
What?
Houston was a wild card.
Who? The Rangers won the division, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll reverse it a little bit. Sorry, but no, you had two teams that when we made our predictions last year, we picked them not even to be up there.
To be
We
in the
picked them to be
bottom. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm actually going to have Houston again getting back. I think Houston's actually going to win the division this year. I think they're going to go behind that starting pitcher. And Kuchel. Why do all these pitchers have ridiculously retarded names? Kuchel is going to be.
That's your homework.
yeah.
yeah,
that's
For-
your
learn how to
homework.
say that.
Before the season starts, you have to.
I know. I'm
we're gonna quiz you.
butchering names right now.
Yeah.
YouTubers are like, this guy ain't real. He can't even say names. I can say Carlos Gomez though in center field.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to go behind their starting pitcher like they did before. I think their bullpen's going to improve this year, and I got Houston, winning this division again. And I think it wasn't a one-year wonder. I think they're going to be around for a while. Like I said, Carlos Gomez in center field, brings a little offensive spark. Springer, their second baseman, most hits in the league, I believe, last year. Great shortstop. I really like.
Shortstop, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this team. Coming out of this division again. The Mariners, they spent all that money, and it just shows that you can spend money, but you ain't gonna do nothing with it. Cano finally got the payday he wanted, and look where he ended up. He didn't do as much as everyone thought he was gonna be. You got Felix Hernandez starting for the Mariners, but he can only do so much. I mean, he's gonna be a 15-game winner, and it's because they can't win for him, and that's sad. This guy should be a 20-game winner year in and year out, but they just can't do anything And the Angels are just every year they're just a disappointing. They're a disappointing
they're one
team.
of the teams you say that with exception of Trout getting, I think, maybe a little older in some of the key positions.
I mean, Pujols isn't even going to. I think right now on their depth chart, he's not even a starter. They're
He's
starting.
DH.
Yeah, they're starting pitchers. Were used to be up there, but they've all gone their separate ways.
Right.
So I really don't have the Dodgers, doing much. I think it's going to be between. We're going to see another 2-team race between the Rangers
Still out there.
and Houston, and I got Houston coming away again with this division over the Dodgers. I'm
let
opening
you
up the
go.
floor to you guys.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Take it.
I have the Astros winning this one, and I actually have my other wild card team from this division, which is going to be the Rangers.
Ooh.
Can I do a quick sports
Yeah,
update?
go ahead.
Quick sports update. Breaking news: USA Soccer is up 1-0 on Guatemala. They just scored, so USA is winning a very crucial game. I think there was like the percentage where if they lost this game, they have a 10% chance of making the World Cup. So keep it up, USA.
Right.
People watching this podcast like 2 days from now are going to be like, oh, this game isn't on. So all right, back to the baseball.
Coach,
my turn.
what do you have?
I'm gonna go with the Rangers winning the division and Houston coming in as a wild card again this year. Angels third, Seattle, like you said, after their number one pitcher. I don't think there's much pitching left there. Oakland is the biggest fire sale team in Major League Baseball. Billy Bean.
But can they hit? Can they get on base?
They can still hit and get
Can
on
they
base,
get on
but they
base?
lack in other areas.
You ever
but
see Moneyball?
No.
You gotta go see Moneyball. It's pretty
yeah,
good.
I go back. I like the Rangers in first place because I'm from the old era. We love the Nats. They're in Washington, but the Rangers were there before the Nats were. The old Senators before they left, and the Twins were the Senators before they left to go to Minnesota. So if you're a real old Senators fan, you root for the Twins and Rangers, and now you're rooting for the Nats. And that's that.
All right.
All right, so let's get to the playoffs right now. What do we have? Let's do our seedings first. For my NL side, I have the Cubs as the 1 seed.
Yep, me too.
They'll be playing against the winner of the wild card, which is the Cardinals and the Mets. And then my 2-3 will be 2 will be the Nats and 3 will be the Giants. So Chris, let's go to your NL.
I have the Cubs, also number 1. I actually have the Dodgers at number 2. I do like the Dodgers in the regular season. I have Nationals at 3. I have the Giants at 4, and then the Mets.
Okay, so we'll keep it as that. And then Coach.
All right. National gonna have the Cubs number 1. Unfortunately, they're gonna have to, play the winner of the wild card, which is going to be the Cardinals. So that'll be very interesting.
Well, who are your 2 wild card teams? Well, we were here discussing who wins first.
St. Louis and the Mets. St. Louis is going to win. They're the wild card.
All right.
Okay. Then the St. Louis is going to have to go to Chicago to play the Cubs, and then the Nats are going to fight it out with the Giants, and hopefully they'll hit a little bit better this time than they did in 2014. So that'll be an interesting 2-1, 3-1, 1-0 series.
So you said you had the Mets beating the Cards?
Now I had the Cardinals
The Cardinals.
beating the Mets.
Chris, who do you have winning your wild card game?
Giants.
Okay. And I have the Cardinals winning mine. So now it'll be I have Cubs versus Cardinals, NL Central matchup. I have Nats Giants for me. So Chris, you're going to have Cubs Giants, Dodgers Nats, and Coach, you're going to have Cubs Cardinals, Nats Giants. So all of us, we all have the same thing except for you. You have the Giants.
I do.
But so that's
And I'll
interesting.
tell you why
Okay.
later.
All right, so let's go. Let's keep going with the NL thing. I'm gonna have the Nats beating the Giants in mine to come out, and I'm gonna have the Cubs beating the Cardinals. So I have my NL Champion Series is gonna be Cubs Nats. Chris, who do you have?
Say that one more time. Who do you have?
I have Cubs versus the Nats. I have the Nats beating the Giants, and I have the Cubs beating the Cardinals.
All right. And who do I have right now?
You have Cubs versus Giants, Dodge versus Nats.
Well, I have the Nats beating the Dodgers, but I have the Giants beating the Cubs.
Taking the wild card.
I
there.
am.
All right, so Coach, you have Cubs versus Cardinals. Excuse me,
Yeah.
Nats versus Giants. What do you have?
I got Nats and Cubs playing each other after the Nats beat the Giants. They'll beat them this year, hopefully.
Let's hope the Nats don't screw us all up.
Right.
So for me, I have the Cubs beating the Nats.
All right.
I think the Cubs got close last year. I think this year they're gonna get into the World Series this year. So I'm gonna go with the Cubs beating the Nats. I think it's gonna be like a 4-2 series. You know, I love the Nationals. I just like the Cubs lineup, man. It's really good. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Nats fan, but last year they disappointed me, and it's just. I think they finally make the next step to the National League Championship Series, but I think they're going to be maybe another year away from actually getting to the big one. So I have the Cubs in the World Series. Chris?
I have the Giants over the Nats.
And Coach, Nats versus Cubs.
That's tough.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go with the home team. I'll go with the Nats.
All right, so we all have a different World Series. I like
Let's hope.
that. And last year there wasn't like this. This year, you know, we all Cubs, Chris Giants, and Coach Nats. So let's go with the American League now, and I have as my 1 seed the Royals.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 seed will be Houston from the West. My 3 will be the O's, and my wild cards are Tigers versus the Blue Jays. So, Chris, let's go with yours.
I have the Royals as number 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Astros as number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Blue Jays as 3.
And who's your wild card?
I have Red Sox and the Rangers.
And who do you have winning that?
The wild card?
Mm-hmm.
I have the Red Sox winning that, actually.
Okay. All right, Coach, who's your American League?
I got Toronto number 1 seed, Kansas City 2, Rangers 3, wild card Tampa and Houston.
Who do you have winning the wild card?
Houston, which will go up against Toronto.
All right, hold there. So then I'm going to have the Royals. I have the Tigers beating the Blue Jays for the wild card. So I have the Tigers back in the divisional series. I have the Royals beating the Tigers, and I have the Orioles beating Houston. It's going to be Royals versus Orioles, a rematch from 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I have that. Chris, who do you have coming out of the division series?
Well, who do I have? Royals against the Red Sox, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to choose the Royals.
Okay, and then Houston and.
I'm going to choose the Blue Jays.
Okay, and Coach, you have Houston versus the Blue Jays, and you have Kansas City versus Texas. What do you have out of those?
I got Toronto beating up on Houston, and the Rangers taking it from Kansas City.
Okay. All right. So, and then for mine, I'm going to have the Royals making it back to the World Series to play against the Cubs. Chris, who do you have out of?
Yeah, I have right now the Royals against the Blue Jays, and I think that's going to be exciting, right?
Yep.
But I do think the Royals are going to go back.
Coach, who do you have between the Blue Jays and Texas?
Blue Jays and Texas.
That's what he said. So you had the Rangers beating Kansas City.
I had. Oh yeah, Toronto.
All right. So you have a. All right. So my World Series is going to be Cubs Royals. Chris, yours is Giants Royals, and Coach is Nats Blue Jays. I'm going to go with the Cubs and win the World Series. Chris, who do you got?
I have the Giants.
And Coach, between the Nats and the Blue Jays.
Let's get the curse of the goat out the way. What do I have in there?
The Goats, the Cubs. What the hell?
I got Nats Cubs, right?
You have Nats. How are the
Oh, I
Nats
got
Cubs in the world?
Oh,
See the stuff that goes on this show. Do you
I
have
still-
do you have Henry's? What are you talking
I
about?
still thought I was cut off. Oh, I said the Nats and the who's
Blue
that team,
Jays.
right? Oh, the Nats and the Blue Jays. Yeah, let's give it to I'm gonna be old
Come on.
and stupid, and let's go Nats.
Let's do it.
All right,
Yeah.
so I have the Cubs, Giants. So hey, at least we all have someone from the NL winning the World Series, right? So final thing before we go, does Harper? Let's finish off with the Nats. Let's finish off with the home team. Does Harper repeat as a NL MVP? Do you think he can do it again?
I think he can. I think he certainly can.
I think he can, but he doesn't.
You don't think so?
No.
So who do you think?
National League MVP?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we weren't going into this. Damn.
No,
he
we
just-
weren't going
he-
into
yeah,
that.
I didn't tell him about that.
All right, I'm just saying.
Nobody said a thing to me. That's what I get for staying upstairs.
I think he repeats if stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all depends on what the Nats does. I think this Nat team is definitely a division winner. Just got to stay healthy, man. That's all it comes down to this year.
Here's what I'm going to say. The Giants won in 2010, 2012, 2014. And what year is this?
2016.
2016.
You're going with the 2-2-2.
I'm going with the every other year.
So you're going with that.
I'll put money
You
on
know
it.
the Giants were supposed to do that this year in football and didn't happen. 4-4-4. So
That's fine.
you sure?
It's fine.
You don't think this giant team's different?
Shh, it's baseball. We're talking baseball.
I think I just brought up something you forgot about.
No, it's cool. I have a hunch.
All right. So there's our baseball preview show. I hope everyone had a great time. I did. Paul, did you have a great time?
Oh
Did you
yeah.
have a great time listening?
I'm
Paul-
starving.
Paul was just partying over there the whole afternoon.
You need to get out to Nats Park and see another game.
Yeah.
We have one more thing here, unless you want to
No, go ahead.
What?
wrap up. I mean, I know you're quick. It's time to eat. Paul's hungry.
What is it?
Everything
Well, what
ground.
is it?
I just want to give a shout out to my home baseball team here.
But the Nationals?
Well, we did that. Let's get away from pros. Let's go to high school. Right in the area, we have our own Gaithersburg Trojans, defending 4A state champions. All right, I just want to throw in a little. I talked to some of the kids last weekend. I said, listen to the show. I'll give a little bit of shout out to you guys. You're 3-0 this year so far.
There you go. It's a good start.
2015 4A state champions.
How many people came back? Is it a
They basically got their full
They're,
roster back.
they're almost a full roster. They lost about 2 or 3, maybe 4 at the most.
Oh, okay. Good.
So and they have maybe a thing out here to a couple of these young gentlemen who have had good season there. We have one of the pitchers, Anthony Folletti, who is going to George Mason to continue his baseball and college education there.
That's good. Represent the Trojans.
Yeah, Nick Pantos signed with the University of Maryland
Wow.
for his educational and sports. Zach DiCarlo
Go Terps.
has a verbal agreement with Averett University, and Brad Sawyer, verbal commitment to Hood College. So, the gentlemen are doing good. Season's still young, 3-0, but they also have what I want to get into this is a nice little, I guess you call it tournament or whatever. It's for the Hart Foundation, and it's going to be Gaithersburg High School. It's they have teams playing. They have Eastern Tech, Delaney, and Reservoir coming into play, and along with Gaithersburg High School. So there's 4 games that are going to be going on April 1st. So if you get out to the high school, you're going to see 4 good teams. All right, and you'll have a good day of baseball, and it's to help the Hart Foundation, which is a great issue to look at, to do something for. So
Everybody
it
needs
takes,
one of those.
It takes care of all that.
That's right.
But just want to give a little thing out to Coach Raberman, Coach Miller, and I may have forgotten, but the rest of the coaches at Gaithersburg High School to continue, and also they're ranked number 3 in the Washington Post.
Wow.
Right now, and
go Trojans.
and let's just say we have another Montgomery County team ranked in the Washington Post at number 8, Quince Orchard. So
Can you put up a boo
we're
for
stepping
them?
it up. That's all right. Give
Thank
those
you.
kids
Thank you, Paul.
for being in the top 10.
Alicia?
Okay,
My wife
so-
went to Quince Orchard.
Just to Coach Radmer and Coach Miller, good luck the rest of the week and into the weekend, and keep up the good work over there, gentlemen. You're doing a fine job with these young men, and keep it going.
And when's the tournament again?
I believe it's they have a game tomorrow, which is the 30th, and then I believe it's April 1st at Gaithersburg High School.
So that's
4
Saturday, I think.
I
Right?
think that's what it is. Yeah,
Okay.
4 teams playing.
The 30th. Is there 31 days in
Might be.
March?
Let me see. Look at
Yeah.
this thing
Yeah,
here.
really
Could be
long.
30.
Today's the 29th, so tomorrow's the 30th.
Do we have a 31st in this month?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I think it's the 31st
Okay,
and
that might be
1st, or they may
Friday.
try to get it in one day. But
Friday,
starts the
Friday.
31st, I believe. So
Alright.
check on your calendar. Go on the website at Gaithersburg High School. It'll have everything on there. I'm just
Are you going to be there, Coach?
going on some. I'm going to be there and watch them. Yes, I will.
All right.
I gotta
Yes, I
work.
wouldn't miss them.
I work now.
So
Stupid.
keep
schedule.
going, gentlemen. Keep the season up. Have a good one.
Excellent. Yeah, good job, guys.
Also, I spoke to Christian. He said he should be back starting hopefully the summer once he's done with school. He said he wants to come back on, so we can get him back on in June, July, around
Well,
then.
speaking of Christian, the Wizards still have a chance.
Yeah, slight.
Slight chance. They play tonight against the Golden State Warriors, so
Talk about
we can just take the L right now. But
a.
there's
It's
still a chance.
so crazy how everyone picked them to be like the 2nd or 3rd seed, and it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like
we're on the outside looking
Like
in
a-
right now.
duck, just a duck in water with a hunter just looking right at him.
Looking out my back door.
So bad. Hey, they almost beat Golden State last time. I mean, Hell, maybe we can shock the world tonight.
Yeah, maybe somebody
Maybe.
give Seth Curry the wrong address to Verizon.
Yeah, right.
No, they're at Golden State.
Oh, that
Oh.
goes. Well, he's not going.
He's getting a flat tire.
going there
That's what
now.
it is.
Can we get like Marcelo on our basketball team and have him come on and just trip his leg? Or who is
Marcelo.
it? Not Marcelo. Who's it? Who's the Andrew one? Pepe.
Yeah.
Let him go out there and do it.
Really?
Oh, by the way, this weekend is Classico.
Is it again?
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, they just had one like a month ago.
No.
Is it
This
just
weekend.
Premier League or something else?
What do you mean?
Is it for the Premier League or is it for another?
This is for La Liga.
That's what I meant. La Liga.
Yeah, La Liga.
Okay.
Mhm. So Barcelona versus Real Madrid. this
Germany
weekend.
just beat Italy today 4-1. It's pretty
Oh,
nice.
I didn't watch
That's
that.
pretty
one.
good.
Get your predictions.
Who's mine's?
Yeah.
Orioles gonna win everything.
I'm actually going. Oh wait, I can't say that loud.
Is that because your computer has the orange colors up there?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to. I'm actually going to the Nats game for my birthday this year. Diamond Club seats, free beer, free booze, free
It's
drinks.
good.
Can't beat that,
Good
can
deal.
you?
We're going to the Nats.
Oh, good.
Dog in the park. Dogs in the park.
Oh, that's.
Oh, you
Something
taking-
like that.
you
Bark
taking-
in the park.
Who you
Something
ta-
like
who you
that.
taking?
Where's that?
In the Nats, the
It's at-
national. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Mhm.
know that.
You taking a doggy?
Well, I'm taking my kids,
Mhm.
and
Well, there's your dog in the park.
my brother's taking his dog.
Javi.
Yeah,
Okay.
his
That'd be a
bulldog.
good. That'd be a good afternoon.
Yeah, that should be pretty fun. He said that he went to it last year, but he didn't take a dog. He didn't have a pet.
Right.
But he said that all the dogs were like, they have a section where all the dogs can sit on the seats and they can
Yeah.
kind of play around or whatever. So
That's good.
Yeah.
They did that. They've done that the last couple of years, I believe.
I sit in the other area, away from the dogs. But hopefully it does good. And we have the Final Four this weekend, plus the national championship game is next week. Big day on Sunday for, I guess, if you look at it for kind of sports related. I guess you have the opening day of baseball, 8:00. We have WrestleMania going on at starting at 7:00. They have their little preview show at 6. So pretty good day for sports.
Oh, yeah, for sports, it's my last day of vacation. So
And
that's about
USA just scored again. It's now 2-0 over Guatemala. So good
Yay.
for them. Thank God.
All right, give 'em
Yeah, it sounds so excited there. So, and also everyone, make sure you check out my other podcast, OT3. I do that every Monday night, 6:45. So I think it's time for Paul to take it away for your little Shamil.
Shemizel. Yes, thank you. So do us a favor, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel that you're watching right now. If you're watching this on a rebroadcast or whatever on YouTube, still do that. Hit the subscribe button. Comment on our videos. Hit our Shipe Sports Talk on Facebook. Shipe Sports Talk on Twitter. Shipe Sports Talk everywhere. You just can't. It's Shipe Sports. Just Google Shipe Sports Talk. You'll be able to get to everything we need. What else? The website, www.shipesportstalk.com. You can get all the old podcasts, new podcasts. If you subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher, you will get, subscribe to us anywhere, and you'll get the latest and greatest episodes as they come, as they get posted. And just every Tuesdays now at 6:45.
Yep. Every other Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday at 6:45. The Shipe Sports Talk will be on live in vivo and directo.
We're getting close to 50, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50. Yeah, we're getting close. We're probably by May or something.
What are this is 45? Yeah.
45. It's probably about May or June we'll have a 50th big episode. We got to start talking to our sponsor, Buffalo Wings and Beer, and let them know we're going to do a show out there pretty soon.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
that'd be
taking
fun.
shots.
Oh, yeah. On
We're
the show.
definitely
It'll be
taking
our
shots.
drinking episode.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
drink in the middle of the show.
Nice.
And then
just-
also,
We'll just have Ubers lined
Show
up.
at the bar, then, I guess.
and also you can check out my WrestleMania preview on OT3, which I do every Monday night, my wrestling show
Yeah.
with my co-host Anthony.
Off the top turnbuckle.
Paul enjoys it.
Yeah, that's a good show. It's good.
Paul loves it. So
Yeah.
check that out as well, and check out Always Shipe Sports Talk. You can find us everywhere, like Paul said.
Yes.
So for myself, Chris, Paul, Coach, thank you for watching our baseball special. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Final Four. Enjoy opening day, and enjoy WrestleMania. And also, I think I will be out at BWB on Monday enjoying the Nationals opening day. So maybe you can meet me out there and have a drink and have some wings with me.
Wings.
Oh, that sounds good.
I think that's what I'm going to have for dinner. I'm having wings.
Those sound yummy. Extra yummy.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, good night.
See
Night, everybody.
Where are you going to eat wings at?
I don't know yet. I kind of want